This is what it's like to have goats. They're into it all the time. It's like having a giant herd of toddlers trying to get out of the playpen. So this is the brooder room. Basically, it's just built into in between all of the stalls and the milking stall. And this area is where the chicks will get raised out. We start them way back in this little space. And then as they grow, just give them more and more room until they're out in the open area here. So chicks aren't easy. Chickens aren't easy. And that's where a lot of farmers start, or people that are learning to homestead is the first animal that they take on. I mean, they have a lot of value as far as laying eggs and can provide meat. But this is one of the most difficult animals to get right, quote unquote, to be successful with. It's a hard place to start, and I don't think a lot of people understand that. So don't beat yourself up over not doing well in your first few rounds with chicks. It's tricky. There's a lot of information out there, though, on how to do it, and everybody's going to have their own idea. This was a pen that was suspended up into the air. It was suspended from the walls. And so the chicks were well up off the ground, but it was very difficult to clean underneath it, the space that was underneath it. And this is where we do our composting. So this is basically going to be compost. It'll just, as we raise the chicks out during the year, we keep adding more bedding here, and it just becomes higher and higher layer. And then as it decomposes, we pull it out and put it into the compost pile. So incredibly valuable, high in nitrogen, and it's going to provide a lot of fertility to the compost. So I just decided to make it easier and just go ahead and start it on the ground. We're going to see how that goes. And this is day one of this. It's going well. So just advice for your chicks. The things that I have learned that are going to set them up to have the best start is water. The first thing that you do when you get them out is dip their beak into the water and add apple cider vinegar to your water. This is a big jug. This is a 3-gallon. I added about a cup of apple cider vinegar. You want to give it some flavor. And use the stuff with the mother, the raw. It has the biology in it, enzymes and things that are just going to give them a little bit of a boost. But the point is to get something into their system. Give it a little flavor so that they want to come back to it. And it works very well. So apple cider vinegar and water. Not too much, but enough to give it good flavor. Everybody has to drink first. Withhold the food. And make sure that everybody is drinking. And each and every chick that you get, you're going to dip its beak into the water and make sure that it realizes where it is almost immediately. Every one of them will. They're thirsty when they come. When they finally make it here to you. So after you are confident that everyone knows where the water is and they have gotten a good drink, then I bring the feed in. So maybe 2 or 3 hours later, I'll just bring the feed in. I don't bother putting it on the ground. So the other most important thing, besides the food and the water, when you're first bringing them in, is the heat. Being able to adjust that. There's all kinds of things out there, fancy, schmancy, that you can have things that are done automatic. There's all kinds of systems. And a good way to tell if your chicks are comfortable is the density, right? You're going to look at the density of how they're scattered around. And you can see that they're kind of like all over the place here. So everybody's kind of scattered out. They look comfortable to be running around and then scooting back over here. But what you can see is that right where this one light is focused down on the ground, I've only got one little chicken there. That's because that spot is hot. You can tell. Everybody else is kind of, oh, we're just going to kind of come over here and hang out. But everybody does look very happy. I don't see anyone that is terribly uncomfortable. These little guys back in the corner kind of crowding each other a little bit. So when it is cold, you will have to be concerned about keeping the temperatures regulated because they'll pile up on top of each other and smother one another. They're not exactly rocket scientists, but they are cute. I do get a lot of questions about how we raise the chicks. I raise them differently than most of the other pasture raising farmers. My chicks are free range when they get out there, so they're not confined in a Salatin style cage and pulled along. I did that in the beginning. I did that for quite a while, but then got to thinking, I mean, what's the point here? Because I have the laying hens are pasture raised. They're free range out there, and they're in electric netting. And then the guardian dogs are the difference because I have the dogs that protect the chickens instead of eating them. It's a perfect symmetry. So we have a pen within the pen. You can think about it that way. The electric fence is within the pasture, and the guardian dogs guard the exterior, right? They keep the predators out of the pasture and away from the pen. And I do think it makes a difference. I think the breed makes a difference. I also raise a different breed than most other farmers. Most farmers are using the Cornish cross, and they aren't built for pasture. They're built for a chicken house, and it can be tricky to be successful with them. It takes a lot of experience in pasture conditions. And it works well. Obviously, it works well. I just chose to work with this breed because the Freedom Ranger is a breed that was designed in France for being pasture-raised meat birds. Specifically designed for it. And they did a good job. They are very good at what they do.